It's Friday, March 6th. Do you know where your golden age is? Hi, Paul Krugman here. It is Friday, March 6th. It's 17 days since the State of the Union address, in which Donald Trump basically tried to allay concerns about affordability and all of that by insisting that everything is great. Talked about a golden age, about fantastic job growth like nothing you've ever seen, boasted about low gasoline prices, which he said were below $2.30 a gallon in most states. None of that was true. I don't think there was a single actually true number in the speech. But the general position was, things are doing great. Doesn't look that way this morning. Number that got everybody in my alley's attention was the jobs report, which said that the U.S. actually lost 92,000 jobs in February. Now, that's a very noisy number. I don't actually believe that. I don't believe that the U.S. economy gained 126,000 in January and then lost 92,000 in February. Probably, taking all of the various numbers together, the real story is that employment growth has more or less flatlined. That's basically since Trump took office, definitely since Liberation Day in April. That is not having as much consequence in terms of rising unemployment as it might, because we've also shut off the supply of labor through immigration, through basically pogroms against immigrants. But it's not great. It's certainly not this wonderful booming economy that Trump wants us to believe we have. The other thing that is really noticeable, and that has been happening over the past week since we started bombing Iran, is what's happening to oil prices and gasoline prices. Oil, last I looked, a little while before recording this, the price of Brent crude, which is kind of the global standard, and usually a few dollars more than the price of West Texas Intermediate, just cracked $90 a barrel. That's a significant rise. What is really striking to me, and is happening faster than I thought it would, is prices at the pump. So back, 17 days ago, when Trump was boasting about low gas prices, the national average was actually $2.98 a gallon. It's now, or as of yesterday, it was $3.32 a gallon. So that's a pretty big increase. It's still a bit short of what you expect, what we would expect to eventually happen, given what's happening to crude prices. But there's probably, about to say, more in the pipeline. I guess that's kind of literally true, although it's more still in the oil tankers that are stuck on the wrong side of the Strait of Hormuz. But in any case, that's a pretty major hit. Gas prices are not anywhere near their high point during the supply chain crisis after the economy recovered from COVID. They're certainly not anywhere near in real terms where they were in the worst of the oil crises of past decades, but they are up. And thing about that, it was really normally it's a really bad idea for presidents to boast about gasoline prices, because they have very little impact on gasoline prices ordinarily. There's not much a president can do to bring gasoline prices down. Ordinarily, there's not much he can do to push them up either. It's the high gas prices of 5 years ago were not something that Joe Biden did. They were a world economy recovering without sufficient logistics capacity to deal with the sudden increase in demand. So ordinarily, presidents can't do much in either direction. However, one way to drive gasoline prices up is to start a war that leads to closing the Strait of Hormuz and basically lopping off 20% of the world's oil supply, which is what has just happened. I don't, presumably Trump was at least contemplating a war on Iran when he gave the State of the Union address. So why there wasn't some forethought to, what is this war going to do to gasoline prices? I don't know, except that they really, as far as we can tell, they're in denial. I just saw some interview footage in which Trump said, was told gas prices are up a lot. And he said, no, they aren't. So maybe it's just not a denial in advance, and maybe even denial right now. But anyway, it's this whole attempt to convince people that things are great is developing not necessarily to Trump's advantage. Enough for today.